Hello, today we're going to make some hash browns. Now, I know a lot of places sell hash browns frozen as frozen patties, this, that, and the other, okay. You can actually make it from a raw potato yourself. I know a lot of people think that the frozen hash browns are a lot easier to do, and they can be. But even with frozen hash browns, you can still take the taste up just a little bit. Okay, it is a large part primarily personal choice, okay, but another advantage of making the hash browns yourself is it doesn't take up space in your freezer, okay. Raw potatoes will store for quite a while in a cupboard so long as they don't get wet or you don't have a bad one in there. Anyway, so let's go ahead and make some hash browns. First, I have a little bit of onion that I diced up, okay? Now, I happen to like a little bit of onion in my hash brown. That's personal choice, okay? Then, cheap grater, okay? I have had this thing for years, and it still works. And we just grate. We want to use the coarse holes. This is way too fine, and this would give us slices, which is good for some things, okay? But we just grate up the potato. See? Here we are, we're getting some grated potato. Now, if I was using frozen, I would not have to do this part, and I wouldn't be making a mess with it. But like I said, frozen takes up space in my freezer that I need for other things. Okay, so now here we have the grated up potato. Okay, does not look too appetizing yet. Does not smell too appetizing yet. Oh, and important note, before starting any of this, wash your hands, tie your hair back, because getting nasty toilet fingers into everything is yuck. Okay, so, and just grate it down so that you take it down enough, but you don't start grating your fingers, okay? That can be painful. At this point, we're going to move the grater to the side because we no longer need that. We don't need this, so I'm going to toss it. And you don't have to peel the potato. As you saw, I was using a potato that was not peeled. Now, we're going to turn on the heat. And we're just going to we need to make sure that we've got some melted butter in here. Okay, so melting some butter. You can also use the, actually, let's move this over to this burner so we can see better. Okay, it's a little larger burner, so I have to turn the heat down just a little bit. But here we have some melted butter, or butter melting, okay. And I know I'm using a nonstick, so I shouldn't have to use any butter in it. But I've noticed that if you want the browning, which makes for a really nice hash brown, you need to add some butter or some oil, or you can remember that trick we did with the scrambled eggs before, where we just took and cooked some bacon first. You can do that too, okay? Now, something to notice is right now, these potatoes are raw, okay? Not good to eat. I have the onion in there. You can also grate up some carrot and throw that in there. You can do all kinds of things. just a matter of personal preference. So I'm going to pause this because this takes a little bit to cook. Okay, clean up this area, and then I will be back with you in just a second. Okay, now as you can see, there is some browning around the edges, which is exactly what we want to see for hash browns. Okay, and they changed color. The color they were before indicated that they were raw. At this point, it's ready to flip. So, we take our spatula, and see, this means it's well cooked on the bottom. Okay, here we go. Now, just let it cook a few more minutes. Okay, salt to taste, and enjoy. You're going to want to let it cool down just a little bit. Don't eat it straight out of the pan because it is still very, very hot, okay? But I love some good hash browns, okay? The butter just helps with the browning and everything. And I've noticed that nonstick pans, even though the food will be cooked, nonstick pans, we just don't get the browning and the crisping that we want unless we use some oil or some butter or some leftover bacon grease from cooking the bacon, okay? So, and all these things add flavor. So if you're using salted butter, taste before salting, okay? I prefer to use unsalted butter, but that's just because I want to be able to control how much salt is in everything that I make because it changes the flavor, okay? And I prefer to use non-iodized salt, okay? Non-iodized sea salt is the way it's usually labeled, because the iodizing, even though it's not bad for you and it won't cause any problems, it was introduced because a long time ago because people in the cities couldn't get fish very often, and if it was really low quality and no one wanted to eat it. Okay. And the iodine in this was added to the salt to actually help make us healthier. Well, that is not necessarily as needed now, and it does affect the flavor of things. So I prefer to use non-iodized sea salt. Now, I flipped the hash browns, okay, and almost cooked them too much. So, because I got distracted on the subject of salt. Anyway, so go ahead, enjoy your hash browns. You can make a huge batch of this, and the couple advantages are not using the frozen. You can make as much or as little as you want, just like you could with the frozen, okay? You can control the flavor more, and it doesn't take up all that space in your freezer that could be used for other things, okay? Like extra ice cream in the summer, hey? Anyway, thank you for joining me. Enjoy your hash browns.